This narrated set of notes serves as an introduction to the highlights for Week 4. The topics are focused on working with tables. We will be sorting data and using filters. Week 4, Part 2 will cover Session 5.3 on pivot tables and pivot charts. Here are the major themes for Module 5, Sessions 1 and 2. Most are likely new to you, so plan for a bit of extra time this week and note that Module 5 consists of 3 sessions. 2 are covered in these notes, and Session 3 is covered in a separate video presentation. This presentation will focus on Excel tables and the tools we use with tables. Here are the Session 5.1 objectives. We will explore a structured range of data, freeze rows and columns. We will look at planning and creating an Excel table from the structured range of data, rename and format an Excel table, add, edit, and delete records in an Excel table, and sort data. Session 5.2 objectives include using filters and the filter buttons, filtering a table with a slicer, insert a total row to summarize an Excel table. We will look at splitting a worksheet into 2 panes, inserting subtotals into a range of data, and the use of the outline buttons to show or hide details. Here is a picture of the 5.1 visual overview, describing the elements of an Excel table. As always, you need to take time to carefully review the plan laid out in the visual overview for the session. Freezing rows and columns. Freezing a row or column keeps the headings visible as you work with data in a large worksheet. If you haven't used this feature before, you will appreciate knowing about it, especially as your worksheet data set becomes large and scrolls away from the heading labels. Planning structured range of data. A structured range of data is a collection of similar data that can be structured in a range of columns and rows, representing fields and records respectively. Each column represents a field, which is a single piece of data. Each row represents a record, which is a group of related fields. A structured range of data is commonly referred to as a table, and in some programming languages, it is referred to as a list. When using tables, we frequently provide a data definition table. This is similar to a data dictionary for databases. This is documentation that lists the fields to be maintained for each record with the description of the information each field will include. Hopefully, you are thinking that this looks like an access table. You are absolutely right. No, I'm right. You are correct. For smallish sets of data, Excel can be used for database work. Many small businesses and startups do just that. However, over time, with success and growth, Excel's limits will be reached in terms of functioning well as a database tool. Being competent with both spreadsheets and databases will make you a real asset to the business employers. Okay, let's look at some of the particulars in this structured range of data. We enter field names in the top row of the range. It is best to use short descriptive field names. Format field names to distinguish header rows from the data, to make them stand out. That really isn't done here yet. Enter the same kind of data in a field. Those fields need to be consistent in their data types. For instance, the amount field is numeric with dollars and cents. The sales ID looks like it's an integer representation for each salesperson. The date is a date for every field entered in each record. And so we see this consistency within the fields or columns. It is also a good idea to separate data, including the header row, from other information in the worksheet by at least one blank row and one blank column. Some common operations that we'll see when we work with table data includes add, edit, and delete the data in the range, sort the data range, filter to display only rows that meet specific criteria, inserting formulas to calculate subtotals, and creating summary tables based on the data in the range. We usually do this with pivot tables. We will be using this range of data and converting it to an official Excel table. There are 10 good reasons here to do this. It will allow the header row to be very visible. It allows for banded rows and formatting. Now, a banded row is when we change the color slightly for every other row in the table so that it's easier to read through the list of rows or records. We can do sorting and filtering. We can use calculated columns. A great benefit is the total row ability that allows us to do calculations on the table data. We can insert, delete rows and columns easily. We can use structured references. It's easy to enter data. It's good about ensuring data integrity, and it allows for creating dynamic charts. So I encourage you to check out these 10 benefits of converting your range of data to a table. I embedded the link in the title, and you can explore this website that covers each one of those topics in detail. So we are going to take that structured range of data and convert it into an Excel table. When we do this, in the spreadsheet, we will see a filter button in each cell of the header row. We'll see the range formatted with a table style. We'll have a sizing handle in the lower right corner of the last cell of the table. And we will also get a new Table Tools Design tab on the ribbon. Excel tables make it easier to identify, manage, and analyze the groups of related data. Here is a picture of the structured range as a table. Let's look at the features after that conversion. We see the header row replaces the column headings. Some of the time-saving features will be that we can quickly format with a table style. Already we see that banded row with the light and darker blue, making it easy to visually find a particular record in the table. We can quickly add new rows and columns that automatically expand the range. We can add a total row to calculate a summary function, such as sum or average, the count, the min, or the max of a particular column. We can enter formulas in cells and automatically copy it to all the other cells in the column. And we can create formulas that have reference cells. We do this by using the table and column names. We can modify an Excel table by adding or removing table elements or by changing the table's formatting very quickly. We can display or hide table rows and columns. We can find, add, edit, or delete table records as needed. Now, one thing we have to do once we use a table is to name it. And each Excel table has to have a unique name. For those of you that have done some programming, This will be no surprise, but if you've never done any programming, it's important to understand that we are limited in the names we can use. We want to use a descriptive name, but the table names must start with a letter or an underscore. They can include letters, numbers, and underscores for the rest of the name, but you cannot have any spaces in the table's name. The records in an Excel table initially appear in the order they were entered. You can view the same records in a different order. Ascending order arranges text alphabetically from A to Z, or numbers from smallest to greatest, dates from oldest to newest. Descending order arranges text in reverse alphabetical order, numbers from largest to smallest, and dates from the most recent to the oldest. Let's look at some of the features of sorting the data. We see the sort buttons for ascending and descending. The records appear in alphabetical order at this point because we have sorted them in ascending order. If we want to sort on multiple columns, the first sort field is called the primary sort field. The second sort is called the secondary sort field. And Excel will allow you up to 64 sort fields. That seems a little excessive, but it's available to you. Excel also allows you to create customized sorting by sorting using a customized list, and you will practice with this in the lab. Two predefined custom sort lists available are day of the week and month of the year. Session 5.2 will focus on using filters and total rows, as well as subtotals for ranges of data. You will practice with the outline buttons, which allow you to hide or show details of a worksheet. Although you have not practiced these tools in Excel, you have used them in your prerequisite coursework with Access, so most of the concepts should feel familiar. Filtering data. Once you open the filter menu for a field, you can use options on the Auto Filter menu to create three types of filters: by cell color or font colors, by a specific text, number, or date filter, by selecting exact values. You can also apply filters to multiple fields. In order to filter using multiple columns, filter by one or more of the other columns, and then it further restricts records that appear in a filtered table. Each additional filter is applied to currently filtered data and further reduces the records that are displayed. For those of you that do programming, this is like performing logical AND. Filtering will temporarily hide any record that does not meet the specified criteria. After data is filtered, it can be sorted, copied, formatted, charted, or printed. Note that you will practice applying a specific filter criteria and also a slicer in the module. To redisplay all the data, you can clear the filters. One very cool feature of Excel that you will practice using is the total row. This allows you to calculate summary statistics. The summary statistics could be the sum, as we see here. It could be the average, a count, a maximum and/or minimum value for any column in the table. You will also practice splitting the worksheet window into panes after doing so. Here we see it's split between the data and the lower half showing the total row. Inserting subtotals is another feature that's popular when using tables. The subtotal command offers many kinds of summary information, such as counts, sums, averages, minimums, or maximums. You can insert a subtotal row into range for each group of data. It also adds a grand total row below the last row of data. This cannot be used in an Excel table. You must first convert the Excel table to a normal range. You need to sort the data so that the records with the same value in a specified field are grouped together before using the subtotal command. Also note that you can control the level of detail that is displayed using the outline view. If you have any questions or wish to discuss any of these features, post to the Week 4 forum.